Shalom, Kol Halal, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakaha, Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles, double honors to the elder bishops, salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. The would-be judges, the 144,000, which were ordained from heaven, 12,000 men from the 12 tribes of Israel, which are to be the new government here on earth when the kingdom of heaven is established over all governments. There will only be one government, the government of heaven on earth as it is in heaven, as it tells you in the Lord's Prayer, governed by the 12 tribes of Israel. All right? 12,000 men from each of the 12 tribes. All right? And to the rest of the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners among the heathen, that have the appearance of the heathen. All right? Not all Israelites are going to look like Wesley Snipes and Shaquille O'Neal. Okay? And to the few Akwaf that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone, coming at you with that inconvenient and brutal truth. This is First Maccabees 1:1. And it happened after Alexander, the son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius the king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece. All right, so Alexander, this pale male, right, who is an Edomite, got dominion over the Grecians, who were actually a melanated people. All right. The actual Grecians were melanated people, okay? Not the people that are there now, which were basically Alexander's people who took over that land. Saying what they did America, saying what they did South Africa, saying what they did Australia. And made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth, and went through the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, insomuch as the earth was quiet before him, and whereupon he was exalted, and all his heart was lifted up. And the parts of the earth that he went through was the old earth. All right, throughout Asia, including the portion that they call the Middle East, because that's Western Asia, and the portion that they call Europe. That's also Asia. So he went throughout Asia, and he went throughout North Africa, pretty much the known world at the time. All right, and there he established himself, and he established paleness. Because what did they do? They went throughout lightening up everyone through rape, robbery, and murder. Same thing they did later during the Christopher Columbus discoveries. After that, Cristobal Colon, his actual name. All right, and then they did the same thing in the Americas, the blanqueamiento, the whitening of the people. All right. And just because you lighten someone up doesn't mean that their seed line completely disappears. As long as there are any men left of that bloodline, those people still exist. All right? Because a woman has nothing to do with nationality. She's only an incubator. All right? It says that he gathered many strong hosts and ruled over countries and nations and kings and became tributaries unto him. So people joined unto him. And after these he fell sick and perceived that he should die. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable, that had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet still alive. And this is actual secular history. The four generals of Alexander of Macedon, or who the world calls Alexander the Great. All right. And his servant bare rule everyone in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves, said they were royals. And so that their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. Evils multiplied in the earth when Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, came into power. This is the reason why the seminaries, all right, decided that they were going to not teach from this portion of the Bible, because it identifies who the wicked actually are, which are mentioned in Job 9:24. the first Maccabees identifies them as the Edomites, the self-proclaimed white man, Job 9:24. All right, because they'll just try to group everything together and say, oh, the evil or the wicked, oh, that's just talking about bad people. No, it's actually talking about a race of people. This is Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, wherein who is he? All right, so all the people didn't go through the earth putting their faces up saying that they were this people in history, that people in history, erasing and changing names, changing the names of lands, and moving landmarks and everything to try to fit a false narrative to support paleness. Only Esau, Edom did that. So these are the descendants, the hateful descendants, the wicked descendants of Alexander of Macedon, who was a son of Amalek, who was a son of Edom. These are Edomites, right? And as punishment to the Israelites, Job 4:17, he not Job, but Daniel 4:17, he set up the bases, the lowest of men, who commit the most wicked, and they use fraudulent and false statistics every day. It's just like it tells you right here. The first video, which is the one I'm going to play, about 6 minutes of it, white folks finally saying it out loud. And then the second video is called They Taught Latinos to Hate Black People. Or black so-called Latinos and natives are victims of the Blanqueamiento. Truth of the matter is, so are black people. That's why you have so-called light-skinned black people. Some of them can even pass for so-called Hispanic. Is a result of that rape, robbery, and murder, which was established as a normal thing by the so-called white man. There's a saying that they use in Spanish, something La Raza, which I forget how it's said, but it's basically saying it's the same thing. Make the race better, marry white. All right, so this whole, they make your skin pale and not being able to withstand the sun and getting cancer in the sun instead of absorbing vitamin D. You're right. There's no benefit to being pale fleshed, to being light complected, as far as having no melanin. There's zero benefit to it. Zero. But they've convinced you of that. And their shield has become, their flesh color. And now that's disappearing. So here we go. Damn commercial. Video was set up, but this new YouTube.
Extremism, white men. Domestic terrorism, white men.
Let's take this back.
Serial killers.
The truth.
And what made me think about this was that one of my clients and woman I've known for well over 20 years. We go way back. We have some history. All right. She sent me this very racist post. And this is a woman who appears to be a so-called white woman. I believe that she's a Jake. But it is what it is. Because she's even talking about her nigger lips. People look at her and they think she's gotten her lips done. She came that way. And, she was teased about it by the white people her whole life. And now she's learned to, because now having big, thick lips like that is that's what's hot now. So now she embraces her lips. But anyway, she sent me this very racist post of these false and fraudulent statistics, about so-called black people. And I told her, I gave her some information that she need to look into, and that she can't believe everything that she sees and reads. You got to do your own research. All right. So basically what I sent her countered the shit that she sent me. But that's what inspired me to do this video. Because clearly it aggravated me more than I thought it did. The fact that I'm still thinking about it today. So I'm going to let these Edomites tell you about Esau, Edom. All right. And then I'm going to read some real statistics on the shit that they do. And how, and this guy pretty much says what I say all the time. We live in a world where they always try to make themselves be the measure of morality, what's good, And when they're exposed for being evil and being the villains, they somehow twist everything around and make themselves a victim and make themselves the answer instead of owning up to the fact that they're the actual problem. So without any further ado,
to the earth shall rise again.
The name of the video is at the bottom of the screen. All right, white people now waking up admits the truth Black America has been saying for years.
White people. If crime statistics really mattered to us, we would be talking about white men every damn day. We as white people love to throw around statistics when it comes to the Black community. We love to misconstrue
like Mancow
about poverty rates, crime rates, single parent households. Here's the thing. If you really want to talk about problematic behavior in terms of statistics, we need to talk about white men. Most mass shootings in America, white men. School shootings, white men. Intimate partner violence, typically known as domestic violence, white men. Police brutality and systemic violence, white men. Online harassment and extremism, white men. Domestic terrorism, white men. Serial killers, white men. The demographic making up the vast majority of CEOs, judges, senators, and police chiefs who refuse to hold white men responsible, white men. And yet us white men are really talked about as being a problem. Few white people are asking what's wrong with white men.
Exactly.
What's wrong with the culture? Few white men are demanding that we be fixed. And why? Because we as white men humanize and individualize white violent offenders. And it's time to flip the script.
Yeah, and what they do is they basically group everyone else, especially so-called Black people, together. They don't individualize and separate the criminals from everyone else like they do with their own men. All right? So he's actually telling the absolute truth in this moment.
Shame and blame, because I know white males are incredibly fragile when it comes to that, but instead to name what's really going on and who continues to be protected and not held accountable because of selective storytelling. I hope this helps.
Grand rising kings and queens.
So, yeah, there's only kings, there is no queens. Queen means a whore, a hussy. That's literally what it means, a prostitute. That's what queen means, spelled Queen, all right?
We took their dignity, and now we're being given refuge? What must it feel like to be a person of color, a Black person in South Africa, watching my people who broke this country and now run off to claim victimhood somewhere else?
Exactly.
We say we're afraid, but we built what we were afraid of. In 1994, we didn't give over power, we just gave over the mess and said, it's your fault, you deal with it now. But our white hands are clean. And now we're fleeing the country, crying reverse racism. So Black South Africans, please tell the bad guy right here how it makes you feel. Because this is not right. This is sick.
Your thighs?
Fucking commercial. And then, and it's, let me just turn the sound down, let that bullshit play. That didn't happen the first time I watched this. Especially just trying to play the first couple minutes of it. Fucking Esau, piece of shit.
To be the protector anymore.
This country was not built on freedom. It was built on theft, genocide, slavery, and silence. The land we live on was stolen, ripped away from...
Oh, let's pause that. And let's go to this bitch right here. This funny looking specimen Trump supporter right here. All right. This is extremely unattractive. Who would want to mate with this heifer? But let's hear our hypocrisy, and then we're going to go back to what that blonde lady just said.
Welcome back to Green Cards for Me, but not for thee, where I expose MAGA immigration hypocrisy, one unhinged hypocrite at a time. And today, we're talking about the loud, proud, far-right, festering piece of flesh that is Laura Loomer. And shocker, once again, the call is coming from inside the house, because this self-proclaimed white supremacist, anti-immigrant, America first...
Look at that woman. Look at that. Oh my, look at this. We're talking about this Loomer bitch. What a pathetic specimen. Who is exactly what she's talking about. I hope that the things that she said out of her mouth actually happens to her. I hope that I hope that when the Lord brings her destruction, that it makes it public to the shame of her family and friends and all who listen to her.
First extremist who recently suggested feeding all 65 million Latino immigrants in the United States.
Actually, they shouldn't even be called immigrants. She basically suggested that not just the immigrants, but every so-called Hispanic person in America should be fed, to the alligators at Auschwitz.
It's to alligators is an anchor baby. That's right. Laura Loomer was born in Tucson, Arizona in 1993. That makes her 32 years old. She was born to Jeffrey Loomer, an American rheumatologist, and Joanna Hill, a British nurse. She was literally just visiting from the UK on a tourist visa when they met. And when she gave birth to Laura, still not a US citizen. So that makes Laura the exact anchor baby.
She was an ugly baby too. Look at that. Ew.
That she loves to rage about. The exact kind of birthright citizenship that she wants to ban is the only reason she's even in the United States to spew hate in the first place. She owes her entire existence to the immigration system that she now wants to tear down. And truthfully, I really don't love giving this wacky failed congressional candidate any more attention than she so clearly desperately wants. But when she's got the ear of the president, and likely even other small things of his, plus influence in far-right circles that actually shape real policy, it's not just fair game. It's absolutely necessary.
Yes, it is.
Welcome back to Green.
So, shame on her, and shame be upon her. And the opposite of blessings be upon her. Because she, just like this lady said, is benefiting on stolen land while she's projecting she's actually the immigrant who doesn't belong. And the same thing goes for Trump and his wife. Same thing with Trump. All right. Trump are the parents of an immigrant. So if anybody's, citizenship can be stripped away, is he and his wife's. Just saying. According to the criteria that he's using to do this to people, according to his own word, is what I'm saying.
Right. This is sick. And I don't want to be the perpetrator anymore.
This country was not built on freedom. It was built on theft, genocide, slavery, and silence. The land we live on was stolen, ripped away from native people through war, betrayal, and the violent erasure of entire cultures. Homes burned, families torn apart, and languages were forbidden, and children were buried. This land wasn't discovered, it was taken. Then this country marched south and stole half of Mexico, Texas, California, Arizona, and New Mexico. That land wasn't empty. It was alive with history, with people, with deep indigenous roots. Mexicans and Native Americans share that blood. And now this country dares to call their descendants illegal on the land that was theirs first. And while land was being stolen, millions of black people were stolen too. Enslaved, brutalized, forced to build a country that never intended to see them as human. The wealth of this nation, its railroads, its cotton, banks, White House, was soaked in the black blood and sweat. And still the system works to keep them down, to silence, to punish, to erase.
Something that Mancow and Tanya both seem to overlook as she sent me all those statistics that he sent out, not acknowledging that they set up a system. And I always say that the ghetto and the little dirt, the Chief Keef, old dog, old block, dread-headed, drugged out, heartless, gang-banging killer is a creation from their policy. They did that, all right, because so-called black families were together, living in harmony, no gangs in the 1920s, 1930s, 1940s, 1950s, all right? You know, you had your little racketeers here and there that were dealing with Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, all right? But, you know, the families were together collectively, all right? It was his policy that drove the man out of the house, separated the family, created food deserts and job deserts, took all the redlining, you know, coming and coming out of the Jim Crow era. Hell, they didn't even get so-called civil rights until 1964. And at the same time they got that, the man was driven out of the home, all right? The resources were taken away. The jobs were taken away. And you created these single-family homes by placing the man over the woman, all right? And look what happened to them in the long run. And then you fill their neighborhoods with guns and drugs. Yeah, and then you complain about it now. All right, as some of you, you know, you make money off them in your prisons. So you sit back and you watch them destroy themselves. They said 97% of the black people killed themselves. So and Jake is a dumbass. And even when this sort of stuff is told to them, they still go and continue to live the stupid ass lifestyle that they do. But they're the 2/3. You're only destroying the 2/3 anyway. That's who the Lord allowed you to destroy. So we only have to endure a little bit more, because the truth of the matter is we don't care about the 2/3. There's no saving them. Their punishment is death. There's no way out of this for them. Right? They'll be righteous when they're born back into the kingdom on the other side, which is near. That is scriptural. That's biblical.
And today, this country is still being built on the backs of the brown, the poor, the undocumented, farm workers who can't afford the food that they harvest, mothers crossing borders to keep their children alive, laborers doing the hardest.
Oh, she said that, and I just saw a video yesterday where the governor of Texas was ordering servicemen to turn back pregnant mothers and people who would come across the Rio Grande and come out of the desert and things of that nature, that deny them water, deny them medical help or anything. Even pregnant women giving birth and babies and little children. Some little girl supposedly had sunstroke right there and they wouldn't even give her water. All right. I wish I had that on deck. I mean, I got a ton of information, but I definitely have that video. Maybe I will do a lesson on it, but it really pissed me off. Let me see. Maybe the Lord will bless me and bring it right up. Because I can't, man, because my beloved April O'Neil, boy, I can't keep up with her. You know what? The water how I think this might be it right here.
Some disgusting and indefensible news that I wish wasn't true.
Got it.
Officers working for Texas Governor Greg Abbott's border security initiative have been ordered to push small children and nursing babies back into the Rio Grande and not to give any water to asylum seekers, even in extreme heat. This is according to an email from a DPS trooper. According to this email in the Houston Chronicle report, a pregnant woman was found having a miscarriage caught in the barbed wire.
Damn.
A 4-year-old passed out from heat exhaustion after she tried to go through it and was pushed back by Texas National Guard soldiers. And that's just the beginning. Greg Abbott and all these Texas Republicans must resign immediately. This story is just breaking, so follow along for more, but this is despicable.
So that's the heartless, murderous cruelty of Esau, Edom, the white man, and she just confirmed it. It's coming from one of his own.
To erase. And today, this country is still being built on the backs of the brown, the poor, the undocumented, farm workers who can't afford the food that they harvest, mothers crossing borders to keep their children alive, laborers doing the hardest work for the lowest pay, while being called a burden by the very people who benefit from them. I may not carry that history in my blood, but I refuse to look away. Because the truth is, America was never built by the powerful. It was built by the oppressed.
This is true.
By the people whose names never made it to the textbooks.
Yep. This is Psalms 27:12. Deliver me not over unto the will of my enemies, for false witnesses are risen up against me, and such as breathe out cruelty. So they create these false statistics. They lie about us, all to give an excuse to continue to murder and oppress us as a people. And I want to read this AI conversation that my cousin asked the question. All right. And he sent this to me yesterday. And the water cuz for this. This is it says, you are highlighting, I'll just put it in the screen. You are highlighting critical and often painful truth about history of the Americas, the dispossession of indigenous people from their ancestral lands. You are correct that that this involved conquest and sieges of land, European colonizers, and later United States and often nations expanded across the Americas through warfare treaties that were violated and forced removals, taking control of territories belonging to various indigenous nations and tribes. All right. Denial and justification. A common justification for this seizure was the idea of terra nullius, empty land, or believed that indigenous peoples were not making proper use of the land to European agriculture and property norms. This narrative, in which they knew nothing about agriculture, they came over here and they were starving to death, eating their own dead. All right. They wouldn't even survive if it weren't for my people. All right. This narrative often ignored the sophisticated and management agriculture practices and social structures that existed among the indigenous people. Environmental impact, as you point out, the post-colonial development of the Americas driven by industrialization and specific land use basically poisoned the land. They destroyed it with all their so-called modern science and modifications. Has led to significant environmental consequences, including pollution and the extinction of animal species, contrasting sharply with many indigenous worldviews that emphasize stewardship of the land. This historical process undeniably fits a pattern of people marching through and seizing dwellings not their own. As you described earlier, the ongoing struggle for land rights, recognition, sovereignty, and environmental justice by indigenous people in the Americas is a direct result of this history. Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, wants to make himself not guilty. That brings to mind, and that was very powerful. Truth. In Zechariah 11:5. And it reads, who possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not. All right. So the true murderer, all right, the danger to the world, all right, is pale males. All right, let's go back. And we'll let him speak one more time. And we'll wrap this thing up.
Every damn day. Statistics really matter to us. We would be talking about white men every damn day. We as white people love to throw around statistics when it comes to the black community. We love to misconstrue data about poverty rates, crime rates, single parent households. Here's the thing. If you really want to talk about problematic behavior, in terms of statistics, we need to talk about white men. Most mass shootings in America, white men. School shootings, White men. Intimate partner violence, typically known as domestic violence. White men. Police brutality and systemic violence. White men. Online harassment and extremism. White men. Domestic terrorism. White men. Serial killers. White men. The demographic making up the vast majority of CEOs, judges, senators, and police chiefs who refuse to hold white men responsible.
Yep.
This is Sundays for Dogs.
You
Sundays is human-grade,
bitch.
air-dried dog food.
Fucking Esau,
90% meat.
piece of shit.
White men. And yet that's white men are really talked about as being a problem. Few white people are asking what's wrong with white men, what's wrong with the culture. Few white men are demanding that we be fixed. And why? Because we as white men humanize and individualize white violent offenders. And it's time to flip the script.
And the script has been flipped. Esau, Edom is discovered, and the Lord is going to do away with you. All right, he's bringing you down, but Babylon is being brought down. You are exposed. All right, and there is no, as a matter of fact, let's get Lamentation. We'll get a couple more scriptures and wrap this up. Because you're about to be visited for all that you've done. All right, this is Lamentation 4:21. And it reads, Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee, and thou shalt be drunken, and shalt make thyself naked. The punishment of thy iniquities is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. So with finishing up this sentence, the 2/3 about to get what they're going to get, and then Esau, Edom gets what he gets. Then the kingdom of heaven is upon us. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. So your sins are being discovered. You will not go get away with this. All right. You're going to go into captivity for 1,000 years to build up the kingdom of heaven for free, which is going to be ruled over by the 12 tribes of Israel, the people you hate the most. Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. 12,000 men from the 12 tribes of Israel will be the new government of the entire world, Lord Loomer. All right. You and your small hat false religion, you're an Edomite. All right, a convert. You're not the people of the Lord, you funny looking thing. This is Isaiah 14. And these are all end-day prophecies. What happens upon the restoration of the Israelites. And the restoration of the Israelites is the kingdom of heaven on earth as it is in heaven. It will be here on earth. And they shall rule. This is how you know those people over there are frauds. Because this is what happens when all 12 tribes go back. Peace on earth. Okay? And the building of the kingdom of heaven for free. And all the other nations will have to work to do it. All right. And after that 1,000 years period is up, all the other nations go back to live in their lands in peace and in harmony. No more wars, no more fights. All right. This is and the Edomites get rounded up and destroyed. Read the book of Obadiah. But this is Isaiah 14:1. It says, For Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them over and set them in their own land, all 12 tribes. That didn't happen. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave unto the house of Jacob. Those strangers are the Israelite foreigners who are scattered around, who the Lord's going to bring them back home. All right. And the people shall take them and bring them into their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for service and handmaids. That's the Edomites and all the other nations. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were. The very thing that these Edomites just spoke about. Everything that Esau, Edom did to us here is going to be done to them double. Revelation 18:6. Double, and there is no way out of it. Okay? Because Isaiah 14:2 is a precept to Revelation 13:10. All right. As a matter of fact, we'll go ahead and read it. These two scriptures go hand in hand. Because the saints of the Most High will take into slavery those who took them into slavery and punish those who killed them by the sword. All right. This is what they're patiently, that's what patience means, waiting for. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and the faith of the saints. This is the kingdom of heaven being established. Those who stole the world and brought slavery has to go into slavery. Yeah. So Mancow and all his viewers need to see this video. Lord Loomer and all her supporters need to see this video. Call halal Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakahak Wadash Kwam Yasarala Abad Babal.